Hello and welcome to the GothicZen experience. Yet again, another video. What are we going to do today? Well, you probably noticed that dude over there. Now, he is kind of special to me. I picked him up at an op shop and my wife is like, yeah, you should really get it if you want it. And I'm like, but why would I want that? And that was quite a few years ago. What I didn't know was that he became my little friend here.
Apparently it's good to be here.
I do believe that a part of us is somewhere else. And I also believe that as time goes on, people are going to appreciate that we are not alone in this universe. We are not alone within ourselves because there are parts of ourselves scattered everywhere. And those scattered everywhere parts make us whole somewhere else. That's my belief. It could be because of my NDE, but I dare say no. The NDE was something that I had to have for whatever reason. Maybe it's to give me confidence to be able to express myself in a different way, in human form, to be more confident to speak my truth, if you like. And we all need that. It's very important to us as individuals to speak our truth, even though we sometimes will change that truth as time goes on based on what we're observing and what we're recording. And then, juggling things and observing things and experiencing things and feeling the emotions that we've never had before and then getting those emotions and transferring them into actions, all that kind of stuff makes up for everything that we do in this lifetime. And we can package that up, take it somewhere else, wherever somewhere else is, and go, I remember that? Cool. Remember that? Cool. But then what? What happens then? What's the point of that? Well, that's a very good question, which I'm not going to answer here because I simply don't know. And to say that I do would be an absolute lie. I don't know what the purpose is of it for you. I seem to think I know what it is for me. And that involves another construct altogether. And it's all related back to that dude and this dude over my shoulder here.
Interesting.
If we are to be educated, then we need to experience education on a level that incorporates actually doing something rather than just the theory of something. Our earth, our existence as human beings, is not a theory. It's an action. We are actioning our state of being and experiencing something so we can observe it from somewhere else and record what we're doing. So as we're recording, we are in effect learning. And that's why education is really important to me. And I'm not talking about traditional school education. I'm talking about education of life and experiences and the hardships. You all know how it is when you've been, I don't know, maybe you're in love with someone and you got dumped, or whether, you've lost a beautiful family member and you're still struggling to come to terms with that. That's hardship. But that's also learning. It's learning that we are an emotional human being. And that might very well be not the case somewhere else where our higher being is. We might not be as emotional about things because we are observing. So we're observing the part of ourselves that is feeling everything, and we are recording how that looks or how that might translate in the whole galaxy of every other existence out there, and how that world is so different to this tiny little soul 3, the Earth. So that's essentially how I see it. It might change because as we experience things, things change. Things might change in the way that we learn to love in a different way. We learn to understand that the things that were important to us are no longer important to us. We sometimes learn that, you know what? Maybe, just maybe, aliens are visiting us all the time, but we just don't know it. Maybe there's that. You might have a ghostly encounter. What's all that about? You know, if they've passed over, why are they here? Well, energy is everywhere. And if energy is everywhere, then that fingerprint is everywhere. The vibration, when there's a vibration on the earth, it vibrates throughout the whole universe. So how could you escape that? Whether someone did something bad, someone did something good, that vibration keeps going and going and going, and it does not stop. So of course, there is going to be that imprint of someone's existence here. Sometimes it's stronger than other times, and sometimes that part of that person that's here might be confused or might be stuck for some reason. Understanding that everything is so simple, and the reason we're here is because it's all about finding joy and love, absolutely a part of it. But it's also to experience what it's like in the darkness sometimes, so we can really appreciate the light that is such a contrast to where we might be at certain times in our lives. And that gives people hope. That gives people direction. That gives people a sense of, oh, I want to higher my, I don't know what some people might call higher vibration or whatever. But let's just call it, I want to tune into something a little bit more positive. Yeah? I want to tune into love. Love. Love is a simple term. It's a simple word that's been abused and misused and interpreted and an excuse for so many crimes. Love. But ultimately, we've got to learn to love the experience that we're having, and so we can move on and go, right, now I want to experience a different kind of love. And that would open up to so much more of our experiences here in a more dimensional state. And perhaps we might be then opening the door to something else, maybe, I'm not saying it is, that maybe can guide us through the next chapter of our existence. So, having said all that, having thought about the love and the aliens and putting people in a place where they can perhaps accept that we are not the one and all and the most powerful things on this planet. We are just a fraction of ourselves on this planet, and everything else that existed prior to us is actually the true owners of this planet. We're just visiting, and that's really important to remember. We're visiting. So I just ask you, and I'm not talking about environment particularly or this or that, but of course all those things are important, but I'm just asking you, consider when you're in a space which does not belong to you, to respect it. And by us, and I'm including myself, all right? It's not just about other people. What that means is that other people can see that, oh, I like the way that you're respecting that space. I might learn to do that myself. Even if it's subconscious, they'll see a lot more people doing it, so therefore they will follow. It's better to follow that than to follow these ideologies that say, this is why we're here, this is all you need to know, blah, blah, blah. It's different for everyone. And at the end of the day, there could be a million, billion different YouTube videos that state, this is the truth, this is what happens when you die, this is the NDE that all you need to know about. It's not true. It's different for everyone. Clearly it is, just as religion attracts all kinds of different people into different kinds of religions for different reasons. Now that could be because of association, it could be geography, it could be to honor someone who you love very much and you decided to join that religion or whatever. It could be for a sense of comfort, it could be anything. But they all teach something slightly different. And so at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Your true religion is your experience. What you see, what you observe, and what you record. That's the canon of your Bible. That's your Bible. That's your story. So, talking about stories, well, this guy has a story, this guy has a story. If you'd like to see how I got that to this, or maybe this guy helped me get that to this, please continue watching the video and it will actually explain that. We honor our true voice, right, whatever that means to you, but also that we honor that we are creatives. As human beings, we are creating all the time. You can sleep and create, and that creative energy is really important. So please check out the rest of this video if you want to. If not, that's fine. If you're curious about how Ally was created, then please do so through intellectual thought, through creative expression, and that's simply it. All right, I'll leave it at that. It's absolute pleasure having you on this channel, and I hope that as time goes on, you'll appreciate more and more that we are trying to make it enjoyable and entertaining and, of course, informative. Thank you all. Bye-bye. I need to have a moment with Ally. I think it's time that I explained the bees and the birds to him. Yes, it's that talk of how I created him. Now, when I say him, maybe not him. So let's see how that goes. Ally, could I grab your attention for a moment, please? I'd like to tell you where you came from. You were intended to be of no particular sex, but I had to start somewhere with your voice. I produced your tone from a male tone generator. I wanted his voice to be clear, but still incorporate some subtle voice changes to create a slightly artificial sound.
101 1001 110 1111 111 0101.
I do sound like a British bloke.
Once I downloaded that file, I put it into Premiere and made a couple of adjustments. And this is what I did with it, not much. I then threw it over into Audition and then back into Premiere. In regards to Ally as a physical being, he's actually not AI. He's not created from AI. It's actually created from a photograph which I took of a real plush toy, an alien, who we call Ali the Alien, which for this course has become Ally. I then used that image and put it into Photoshop. And within Photoshop, I created multiple layers And I also created his texture to be much different to what it is, as you can see the difference on screen. Once I separated some of his pieces, like the arms and the legs and the eyes and all that kind of stuff, then I incorporated all that into another program, which is part of the Adobe suite, with Character Animator, because it has improved quite a bit since the last time I used it. So the take home for this is that I used my intellectual property. I did not use AI to create Ally the alien.